little bit about Aucoda. Is that how you say it? Aucoda?
Aucoda. Yeah.
Aucoda, and the new T levels that OFC are launching. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys do?
Yeah, so we're the inventors of a new programming language called O, and our CTO and founder, Dr. Raj Kerwin, wanted to basically create a simpler and better way to develop software to be able to teach the next generation of software developers how to code. So we've used O now on real world projects for many years for many blue chip companies, and we've proved the language over consistently throughout that time. So we've done this mostly using graduates and undergraduates who are doing their first job in software development to deliver real software in complex environments using the O language. So our O developers write software faster for the full programming stack, no matter what their target technology is. And we're able to do that by writing one code base to develop applications for any target language, whether that's for the web or iOS or Android. So that's one of our unique selling points, really. O developers only need to learn the one programming language to be able to achieve the same results as they would if they were to learn the native programming languages for each target environment. So for different types of full stack applications, you might usually have to learn many different languages to put together the different components of a full stack application. Whereas with O, we eliminate the need to learn all those different languages, which requires, lots of practice using each of the languages. So by learning just one code base, you're taking out having to learn multiple languages, which takes a lot longer.
Fab, that's great. So it sounds like Aucoda are quite innovative, and that sort of innovation is built into the business model, which fits quite nicely to T levels, especially our digital T level, because that's a brand new course and qualification for 2020. It sounds like you guys are quite a good fit for that level of forward thinking and brand new innovation. Can you tell me why did you feel becoming a business partner for the T levels was important?
Yeah, so at Aucoda, we feel really strongly about empowering the next generation of software developers with skills and experience to be able to develop themselves and build a career in tech. So when we heard about the T levels, it was basically exactly the kind of qualification that we knew we could get on board with. And we knew it fit our company ethos perfectly, really, because we're already targeting graduates and undergraduates and bringing them into our company. So starting that a step earlier at the sixth form level was just perfect for us. And obviously we're a Manchester-based company, so we've developed this language in Manchester, and it's built by Mancunians, and as we call, honorary Mancs. So, doing that and then obviously partnering with Oldham Sixth Form was perfect for us because it's so local. So getting the local talent in would be great, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially nowadays, I think we're all feeling the push of the coronavirus and the pandemic and the lockdown, and how businesses and whole sectors really have had to adapt to using tech and going online. What do you guys think the future of the digital industry might look like?
It is a hard one, really, with everything recently happening, with coronavirus and things like that. But I think the digital industry, and more so digital, really starts with development for us as a software development company. So for us, I mean, we've changed to working at home and things like that, but really the impact of corona hasn't been as devastating for our industry as it has for many others, because we've been able to adapt to the new, the way of new life, working from home and things like that. If you've got your laptop, you can develop software, really. It kind of goes with you where your laptop goes. So in computing, we've really tried to manage complexity for a long time. So the advent of new languages and new frameworks and best practices are constantly changing, and design patterns. They're all about how you're trying to communicate complex ideas so that developers can write software. So really the be all and the end all is we need more software, and to do that we need more software developers. So therefore education and building a nation of curious thinkers, what we like to call curious thinkers, you know, problem solving abilities and things like that, is essential if we're to have a say in how digital technologies are going to shape the world, really. So we believe that the next generation have ideas and they are good problem solvers, and we needed to give them a way to express that, really. And by giving them the O language, we're removing the barriers of having to learn multiple languages to become a full stack developer. And instead they're learning one language, and then they can put all of their time and efforts into creating, you know, beautiful software solutions and things like that. So we're eliminating that from the challenges that face new software developers. So as I said, you know, with Corona and everything's advancing, and um, really software applications and things like that are the glue that holds us all together at the minute. So we need more software developers to be able to keep up with the demand of different applications. There's apps for everything these days, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so apparent nowadays, isn't it? It's so relevant to these students. And I just think
Yeah,
it's an amazing opportunity that these students who have experienced this time might have actually gone through it and come out with enthusiasm and
mm,
maybe growing interest in the skill set to like you say, really make a difference in that growing industry that at the moment is in some elements thriving in quite a challenging environment where tech
yeah.
digital advances um, are, like you say, the glue that holds us all together at the moment. So a huge part of the T-level course is a work placement, which obviously you guys as a business partner are a big part of. Can you tell me what students might gain from a work placement? I know you've touched on it a little bit, and what an average day might look like.
So as I said earlier, we already have undergraduates and graduates joining our company. So with the T-level students, we probably will keep things to a very similar structure to what we have already going on with the graduates and undergraduates. So we basically, rather than having students come in and be one of them where you sit and you watch people do things all day and you tell them things and they make notes, we like to give the students as hands-on experience as possible. So right from the very beginning, students will be coming in, they'll be sitting in on design and architecture sessions when we've got new applications being pushed through the pipeline. They'll be placed with a developer on one of our development teams, and they'll be given them, so they'll shadow a developer and they'll watch how the developer sets up new projects, so create repositories. They'll then watch how the developer does front end development. So our developers get given a design from a UX designer, and then they make that design come to life in code. So the student will be sat watching how our developer brings that to life and the processes that they go through to bring that into code. And then they'll also, and obviously our developers are all full stack developers, so they'll then be able to see how the developer writes the server side application, so how they're writing the back end of the application, and then how they're implementing databases and adding tables and relationships in databases. So they'll get to witness the full start to finish, and then we'll also take them through the process that happens once an application's ready to go to the market. So they'll be taught how to do rigorous testing of applications using test plans, and fixing bugs using bug tickets and our different systems, how we handle things like that in the real industry. Um, and as I say, we like to give students as much hands-on experience as possible. So when students join us doing T-levels, they'll do the same introduction that all of our developers do, whether they're temporary doing placement or whether they're full-time developers. And they'll do the introduction to O, so they will be learning how to program in the O programming language. And that will then give them a firm grasp on how we put our applications together, so that after they've done their initial shadowing and they've had the help of their developer, we can actually give tasks their way. So we can say to them, this screen needs updating, or this bug needs fixing, or a new table needs adding to the database. and the student will actually be comfortable enough to go off and do that with the guidance of a developer. But they'll actually be they'll be contributing to the software that's going to the client rather than, made up scenarios and things like that. It will be contributing to the real application. And that's the main thing that we want to give them.
Oh, it sounds amazing. It's just an amazing opportunity for some of these young people, like you say, to come on board in a really dynamic environment, and be working hands-on, really, by the sounds of it, with real life situations, and in an industry that they're interested in, they're studying in, and getting that real life experience, is a great opportunity. As an employer, how important would you say that having that work experience is to then going on to having a career in that sector?
So in our industry, in software development, you apply for jobs and all the jobs require 10 years experience in this language
Wow.
and 5 years experience in this, and these are entry level positions most of the time. So it's impossible to try and get that kind of experience. So even after students have gone off to university and done degrees in software development, they don't have the experience required for some of these jobs, even entry level positions. So that is a huge problem for a lot of developers, even with or without degrees. There's a lot of what you call bedroom coders who, code at home, and they're excellent developers. Um, but it's the experience that people need. So um, but we're trying to really resolve that issue by giving people the experience, whether it's through placements or in our so we've obviously developed our programming language, and we've also built our own development environment, and we've integrated into that development environment what we call technical challenges and things like that. So they're built into the system, and our developers on their development accounts can do these challenges and basically use these as proof of concept, if you like, when they go applying for jobs. So it might not be, that they've worked for Aucoda for 10 years and have experience doing X, Y, and Z, but they can prove that they know how to basically complete certain, client solutions and things like
Yeah.
that. So I know my boss always says, back in the 80s, everyone had, when computers were just, coming out and becoming public and people were getting them in the houses, they were, writing the code themselves, like I say, at home, writing the code and things like that, and building their own games and different applications. We don't really have that anymore. We have Xboxes and PlayStations, and a lot of people play the games, but they're not developing them. So what we really want to do by doing these T levels is give the students the opportunity to gain experience developing, but also to try and ignite a spark in them and bring the new generation the love of coding. Because obviously you can do it as a career, but it's a fun hobby for a lot of people as well. So it's trying to give them the opportunity to give it a go, and see how enjoyable it is and how much you can achieve with, just some problem solving capabilities. And if you put your mind to it, you can, achieve what you want to achieve all in code and build whatever you want to do. So that's really the main aim for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's that enthusiasm, and that intrigue, like you've said.
Mm,
Some of our students might already have, and others might just have an interest, but have not really thought about what goes on behind the scenes at the very, very initial start of building a program or developing
yeah,
some software. And yeah, like you said, it's a combination of the content that's covered in the T level, which has been built and designed by employers and real industry situations, alongside a work placement with one of our business partners like yourselves, that are going to set these students up for amazing opportunities going forward, whether they choose to go directly into the industry, into employment, which, like you said, is hugely competitive, or if they want to go on to study that further. The T level is a really good platform to start that journey off. Thank you so much for talking with me today, and thank you so much for introducing Aucoda to us.
No problem.
Right, I'm going to stop recording now.